Hey YouTube, I'm Ross Magas, and this is Not Real Life. With Monster Hunter just over the horizon, I could feel the hype train is hitting pretty hard. Personally, this game is the game I'm most looking forward to, barring delays. Now, let me get this out of the way. I'm no Monster Hunter expert. I don't make any claims as such. World is going to be the second game in the series that I've ever played following 4 Ultimate on the 3DS. And I only played that game because I was so interested in Monster Hunter World that I wanted to try it before I got into it. Pretty cyclical, right? So this video is going to focus on some things that came up for me as somebody completely, totally new to the game. And I think these will be helpful for you because I would have liked to know these things going in. Number 1. Use the Force. Now this is going to sound weird considering most games that feature melee combat in a third-person perspective have some sort of lock-on feature. Monster Hunter does not. There is a target cam, but all it does is orient your view to look at the position of the monster when you hit the button. Think of it like resetting the camera behind you. I found this feature frustrating at first, and I couldn't understand why a modern game would lack a lock-on feature. But over time, and while fleeing more difficult enemies, I came to understand that this quote-unquote lack of a feature felt pretty natural. This forces camera control upon you, and in doing so makes you aware of the surroundings much more than if you'd locked onto your target. This should keep you from getting tunnel vision on the monster long enough to notice environmental hazards or other monsters who may want in on this action and decide that you look pretty tasty. Number 2. An object in motion stays in motion. Now this may be a result of not having lock-on capabilities, but once you start attacking in Monster Hunter, you cannot simply shift direction and finish your combo in a different place. In World, it seems that the Insight Glaive, aka Spear Staff, had certain situations where this is not true, but this drastically affected the weapon I ended up choosing simply because I was not aware of it. This only affects melee weapons. Weapon combos tend to have very linear forward movement or broad sweeping attacks. Say you start a string of hits, but the monster has since moved. You can't simply tilt the analog stick in the desired direction and keep the combo going in that new direction. You'll need to stop and reposition yourself. Or you'll continue along your original trajectory. Note, because of this, and that some weapons don't focus on sweeping motions in their attacks, you will have to reposition yourself pretty often. Number 3. The Circle of Life. Monster Hunter appears to run on a very simple cycle. First, you start out in the hub town. This is the prep stage. Here you can craft, buy items, eat, and, well, prep, you know. Quests are chosen here in the hub town. This will be a hunt for either creatures or resources. Now, you enter the hunt stage. This is pretty self-explanatory. You'll go on to an open world segment of the game, and by now you've probably seen the beautiful, gigantic environments of Monster Hunter World. The quest will provide some time limit. In Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, this was on average 50 minutes. From the footage of Monster Hunter World I've seen, this can be less than 30 minutes and may vary presumably depending on the quest difficulty. Once you've completed the objectives provided, you'll get a "quest cleared" type message, and you'll only have 30 to 50 seconds to sit around and wait before you load back into the hub town. As Monster Hunter World is not out yet, I'm not sure if this will be vastly different, but you should probably remain alert because if you are hunting a monster, this is the only time frame you have to gain materials from it. Whereas in a resource-based quest, the quest will end as soon as you bring the required amount of resources to a designated drop box. Then you'll go back to town. Rinse, repeat, and that's basically the life cycle of the Monster Hunter game. There will be other types of quests available to you as you go through the game. These may be labeled as other types of quests, but in general what you do will not change that much. Additionally, partway through the game, a free roam will become available where an unlimited amount of time will be allotted to you where you can hunt down the random monsters that appear or scavenge for resources that are available in that locale. Number 4. Not so great beginnings. The Great Sword's pretty great, right? Pedanticness aside, its purpose and aesthetic are immediately clear. It's a big ol' hunk of metal and you hit things with it. It has a strong, singular purpose, damage output. Pretty simple, right? Well, it turns out it's not that simple, or at least the concepts that are simple don't have simple executions. The mascot weapon of all Monster Hunter, turned out, in my experience, was not the best beginner weapon to start with. Now, this isn't Final Fantasy, and it takes a lot of effort to swing that big bad boy around with some purpose. This is why I don't recommend it as your first weapon to try out. The Greatsword revolves around dealing big damage with charge attacks. Take that, and the super slow walk speed you have when the weapon is drawn leads to what can be a really frustrating first time experience. If it is your first time, you will undoubtedly be trying to learn the intricacies of maintaining visual on the monster and positioning. Add on top of that, a bulky weapon that is slow to attack and can punish you for using it defensively, and you'll be put in a state of catch-up that is not satisfying. Obviously, some people will pick it up better than others, but it may be a bad time for your first go-around. The game will probably start you out with the sword and shield, as it is the only weapon that allows you to use items without sheathing it, but I would recommend the Charge Blade, my personal favorite, as it has both the properties of a small weapon and a shield for defensive purposes, but allows you to switch to a large weapon and learn the general feel of both. Number 5. Becoming a Gearhead. While Monster Hunter could probably be considered an action/JRPG, the game actually does not dispense EXP. All stat increases are gear-based, so you can't grind your way up so that you can use a butter knife and one-shot the new Anjanath in your underwear. Monster Hunter runs on a loot system, where killing monsters drop specific monster bits, which in turn can be used to make the corresponding armor sets at the smithies. All your so-called permanent stat buffs, changes, and skills will be tied to the gear you are currently wearing, and that includes your currently equipped weapon. Number 6. Put your right claw in. So now you know that the game is based on crafting gear to provide stat bonuses. All that leaves is killing monsters and grabbing the bits, right? Not exactly. Certain gear, let's say a helmet, will require different parts than a chest piece. This actually translates in a similar fashion to how you kill the monster. Now, in Monster Hunter World, Capcom has added in-game tools to help you keep track of this. But long story short, if you hit the tail a lot, you'll get more tail-related parts. Pretty simple. And some of these are more susceptible to damage or different damage types. So if you need a head frill for that one bit, go for the head. You need wings? Forget hooters. Get above the monster and drop down on them, and so on and so forth. This will help you get those parts you're looking for in part. Certain parts still have rarer drop rates, but you'll help maximize the chance for it to drop. These bodily extremities in some cases can also be broken, which provide a clear indication that you're hitting the right spot. Number 7. Feel the burn. Seeing as how you've gone through most of this video, I can assume at the very least you've seen the footage, provided here at least, of Monster Hunter World, and some of its combat and some of the other parts while running around the environment, scaling walls, etc. And this is where the stamina meter comes in. Stamina management is a bit unique in this series, as not all combat actions expend stamina. The same is true of environmental interactions. While this is not true of all weapons, stamina is generally only consumed by the most powerful of attacks. This is not just the literal damage output sense, but also some moves that provide better utility or maneuverability. Dark Souls this ain't, so don't be afraid to throw out moves if you think you won't get hit. However, running/sprinting does use stamina, and your overall stamina will decrease over time. This can be corrected by consuming food or other special items. Similarly, climbing walls doesn't reduce stamina, but you can press your dodge roll button to perform short jumps to scale a distance faster, and that does. Occasionally you'll have to mount a monster for specialized damage, and they will attempt to throw you off like a bucking bronco at a rodeo. Holding on during these frantic moments obviously will deplete your stamina. However, once they calm down, you don't have to use your stamina anymore just to stay on top of it. Alright, you made it this far, and you've heard all my points, and you're either new to the series or you just wanted to make sure I wasn't full of shit. Either way, thanks for sticking around. I haven't played Monster Hunter World, as I'm not a quote-unquote press member, and I don't get special privileges to go to trade shows, so some of this may have changed in World. But this short list will hopefully give you a better idea of the kind of game Monster Hunter is and help maximize your enjoyment from the get-go. If you're a series veteran and know some stuff that will help those new to the series, leave it down in the comments so we can all see it. If there's something you want to know specifically, leave a question and I'll do my best to find the answer. I'm Ross Magas, and this is Not Real Life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.